I stared at the glass door, hesitating. You sure you want to do this? Leo whispered, elbowing me. Do what? I muttered, adjusting my tie. Walk in there like a normal guy. Not that I expected. He smirked, but I knew he was nervous too. I took a deep breath. I don't have a choice, Leo. This job, it's the only way I get back on track. He rolled his eyes. Yeah. Just try not to get murdered by the Ice Queen herself. The office smelled like polished wood and intimidation. My stomach twisted. And there she was, Isabella. She didn't look up immediately. Just sat behind her massive desk, fingers steepled, expression sharp enough to cut glass. Sit, she said finally, without looking at me. I perched on the chair, trying to act casual. I heard you wanted to see me? I don't want to see you, she said, finally glancing up. Her eyes were cold, measuring. I want a solution. You. Me? I asked, raising an eyebrow. Yes. You will marry me. Her tone left no room for argument. I choked on my coffee, or maybe on my words. Excuse me? Fake marriage, she clarified, eyes narrowing. It's temporary. Strategic. You will follow my rules, you will play the part, and you will not get attached. I blinked. And if I refuse? She leaned back, expression unreadable. Then you walk out and lose this opportunity. Your choice. I laughed nervously. You make it sound like a death sentence. It might as well be, she said, straight-faced. Leo's voice echoed in my head, don't screw this up. I forced a smile. And what exactly do I get out of this? Your career. Connections. Power. Money. Think of it as a stepping stone. Her tone was sharp, precise, like a scalpel. I weighed her words. Suspicious, but intriguing. And why me? There must be dozens of candidates. She smirked, a flash of pride, or amusement. Because you're clever. Wary. Calculating. You notice things others miss. And, frankly, I like the challenge. I blinked, not sure if that was a compliment or a threat. Leo muttered under his breath from the corner, and here I thought Mondays were bad. Do I look like I care what your friend thinks? Isabella snapped, eyes icy again. Not really, I admitted. But I do care about what I'm getting myself into. You'll find out soon enough, she said, voice low and deliberate. Sign the contract, or leave. That's all the choice you get. I swallowed hard, glancing at Leo one last time. He shrugged. Fine, I said finally. I'll do it. But don't think I'm your puppet. She raised an eyebrow. Oh, I don't. Not yet. But we'll see how long that lasts. I left her office with my head spinning, Leo trying, and failing, to contain his laughter. Somehow, I knew this was the start of something I couldn't run from. That I stepped into Isabella's office again, contract in hand, my stomach twisting. Leo's warning echoed in my head, don't let her charm blind you. Sit, Isabella said, without looking up. Her assistant, Mia, hovered nearby, arms crossed, eyes sharp as a hawk. I brought the signed contract, I said, trying to sound confident. She finally looked at me. Good. But before this begins, we need to go over the terms. I nodded, flipping the papers. All right, hit me. Term 1, she began, voice precise. You will attend all corporate events with me, without complaint. Any excuses are unacceptable. I raised an eyebrow. Even if I have plans. You don't have plans, she said flatly, eyes drilling into me. I let out a dry laugh. Right, because my life revolves around yours now. Exactly, she said, smirking. Mia's eyes flicked toward me, warning clear. Don't push her, she murmured. I swallowed. Noted. Term 2, Isabella continued. No personal relationships outside this arrangement. No exceptions. You understand? I leaned back. That's restrictive. Very restrictive. It's necessary, she snapped. We cannot afford emotional distractions. You are a tool for now. My jaw tightened. A tool? I muttered, though the thrill of her dominance made my heart race. Yes. Do you object? Not yet, I said carefully. But I'll survive. Good. Her eyes softened slightly, just a flicker, before the steel returned. Term 3. You will live in the apartment I provide. Rules inside are non-negotiable. I laughed nervously. I feel like I'm signing away more than a contract. She leaned forward. You are. That's the point. This is a business arrangement, nothing more. I glanced at Mia, who gave me a subtle nod. Loyal to Isabella, protective, silent but deadly. Leo's voice popped in my head again. Watch her. She's good at twisting people. Term 4, Isabella said, ignoring my thoughts. You will follow instructions without hesitation. Creativity is allowed, but final decisions rest with me. I leaned back, exhaling slowly. So basically, I have freedom in theory, none in practice. She tilted her head. Correct. You will learn quickly or you will fail. And if I fail? I asked, daringly. Then you're out. That's simple. I glanced at the papers again. Every term felt humiliating. Every line screamed control. And yet, there was something about her, beneath that sharp exterior, a subtle vulnerability. I caught a flicker of hesitation in her eyes when she spoke, a hint of something unspoken. Leo would have yelled, "Run, idiot." I shook my head. I can do this, I said aloud, mostly to convince myself. You'd better, she said, sharp but not unkind. Because there's no going back once you start. Mia moved to the side, ready to escort me if I faltered. Remember your place, she said softly, eyes never leaving me. I nodded, hiding the strange thrill curling inside me. This contract, this absurd marriage, felt like a cage. But somehow, I couldn't stop staring at the bars, wondering what it would feel like to touch them. Then we're agreed? Isabella asked. I picked up the pen, took a deep breath, and signed. Yes, I said, finally. We're agreed. I stepped into the apartment Isabella had provided, dragging my bag behind me. The place was immaculate, sleek, almost sterile. Wow, I muttered under my breath. It's cold. You're not here to be comfortable, Isabella said, standing by the kitchen counter, arms crossed. Rules first. Comfort comes later, maybe. I froze. Rules? She handed me a neatly typed sheet. Everything from meals to laundry. Deviations will not be tolerated. I glanced at the list. Breakfast at 7, no coffee outside the kitchen, weekends for personal errands only. My stomach twisted. You're kidding, right? I never kid about rules, she said, voice sharp as ever. I sighed, dropping my bag. This feels like living in a prison with good lighting. She raised an eyebrow. And yet you agreed. Did you miss the thrill of captivity? I laughed, though it felt hollow. Not really. Good. She turned and walked toward the window, gaze distant. For a brief second, her shoulders slumped. I caught it, a flicker of exhaustion, vulnerability hidden beneath the steel. I shook my head, scolding myself. Focus. You're not here to analyze her. Leo's voice popped into my head again, careful. She's good at making you notice things you shouldn't. Over the next few days, life under Isabella's rules was suffocating. Breakfasts were silent, except for her occasional instructions. Your shirt's inside out, she'd snap. Change it. Inside out. I muttered once, fumbling with the collar. Yes. Attention to detail, always. I resisted the urge to roll my eyes, but she caught it. Do not test me. Evenings were worse. She scheduled reading time, exercise, and personal development sessions. You will follow the schedule, she said. No excuses. I muttered under my breath. I'm not a robot. Excuses are irrelevant, she replied, voice low but firm. And yet, every now and then, the walls cracked. One night, she let out a sigh so soft I almost didn't hear it. I hate being this strict, she admitted quietly, almost to herself. I froze. Wait, you said that. She didn't answer. Her back remained to me, but I caught her shoulder shake slightly, maybe from a suppressed laugh, or was it sadness? I couldn't help but smirk. Even the Ice Queen has a soft side, huh? Her head snapped up. I'm not. You are, I said gently. A little. Just a flicker. She stared at me, eyes narrowing, lips pressed into a line. I could sense the walls rebuilding instantly. Flickers are dangerous, she said finally. Maybe, I said, shrugging. But sometimes they're worth noticing. Mia delivered groceries the next day, her eyes flicking to me with mild warning. Watch him, she said to Isabella. He'll survive, Isabella replied, tone clipped. But I noticed the small twitch at the corner of her mouth, an almost smile. Every argument we had sharpened our connection, paradoxically. I rebelled silently, finding ways to bend rules without breaking them outright. She noticed, always catching me, but sometimes letting minor things slide. Each concession felt like a tiny victory, and a tiny risk. By the end of the week, I realized something unsettling. I was beginning to anticipate her moods, care about her brief vulnerabilities, and enjoy the challenge of keeping her amused, even if she never admitted it. I shook my head. What the hell am I doing? Still, as I locked the apartment door behind me, I couldn't help but glance back at her, framed in the window's light. Prideful, stubborn, and maybe, just maybe, a little lonely that I was straightening the living room when Isabella appeared behind me, holding a stack of papers. Careful with that, she said, voice low, almost hesitant. I looked over my shoulder. With what? Everything, she muttered. Her eyes flicked to mine, and for a moment, something unspoken passed between us. I laughed nervously. Everything? That sounds dramatic. It's not dramatic, she said, biting her lip. It's precise. I handed her the papers. Here. You wanted these sorted by priority. She took them, fingers brushing mine. I felt a jolt I wasn't expecting. I froze. You're shaking, she said suddenly, almost accusing. I coughed. I'm not. Yes, you are, she insisted, stepping closer. You're avoiding something. What is it? Nothing, I said quickly, trying to step back, but I miscalculated. Our bodies collided. Her lips pressed against mine before I could react. Just a brush, accidental, fleeting. My heart stopped. She pulled back immediately, eyes wide, cheeks flushing crimson. I didn't. Yeah, me neither, I stammered, heart hammering. This can't happen, she said, stepping back again, hands trembling slightly. I know, I admitted, voice rough. It was accidental. She ran a hand down her face. You don't understand. Rules. Boundaries. Everything. I get it, I said. But why do I feel like I don't want it to be accidental? Her eyes narrowed, searching mine, conflicted. Don't speak like that, she snapped, though her voice betrayed hesitation. I swallowed, trying to steady my racing thoughts. I won't. But I can't pretend that didn't happen. Neither can I, she whispered, almost to herself, looking away. It should never have happened. But it did, I said softly. And now, what do we do? She turned sharply, crossing her arms. We ignore it. Act like it never happened. Continue as if this, she gestured between us, means nothing. I chuckled nervously. That's going to be tricky. Don't test me, she snapped, though her hands shook slightly at her sides. I'm not testing, I said quickly. Just observing. You're human. Flawed. And you're not just a CEO behind a desk. Her eyes flickered, a strange softness I'd never seen before. You notice too much, she muttered. And yet, you keep your walls so high, I replied. I wonder if anyone ever gets close. She glanced down, a small shiver running through her. Not many, she admitted, voice barely audible. And they usually leave. The words hit me harder than I expected. For a moment, she was vulnerable, just a person. I wanted to say something, but the timing felt impossible. I exhaled slowly. Then maybe it's not the kiss we should focus on. Maybe it's understanding each other better. Her lips pressed together, a mixture of frustration and something else I couldn't name. Understanding is dangerous, she muttered. I stepped back, giving her space. Sometimes the dangerous things are worth it, I said quietly. She didn't reply, just turned away, but the tension lingered between us, thick and undeniable. I rubbed my temples, heart still racing. One kiss, accidental or not, had shifted everything. And now, nothing felt simple anymore. I slammed my laptop shut, heart pounding. Leo's face mirrored my shock. What the hell? He muttered, leaning over my shoulder. I can't believe this, I said, voice trembling. How did he? Who? Leo asked. Mark, I said, gripping the edge of the desk. My friend. He leaked everything. The contract, the arrangements, everything to the press. Leo whistled. That's cold. Really cold. I trusted him, I muttered, pacing the room. I told him nothing personal would leave our circle. And he did this for what? Attention? Money? My phone buzzed. A message from Isabella, are you okay? Meet me in the office. I hesitated. The thought of facing her while my world felt like it was collapsing made my chest tighten. But I needed her, or maybe I just needed someone who wouldn't stab me in the back. When I arrived, Isabella was already waiting, arms crossed, expression unreadable. "I heard," she said bluntly. I don't know what to do," I admitted, voice low. "My career, everything." "You do what you always do," she said, stepping closer. "Take control." "I can't believe Mark," I started, then stopped. "Why would he?" "Jealousy," she said calmly. "Fear. People fear losing what they can't control. Mark thought he could control you. He couldn't." I blinked. "You understand?" "I observe," she said. "And I don't tolerate betrayal. Not from people I care about, not even from those pretending to be friends." Her words struck me. Care, loyalty. Those were things Mark never had. Isabella, cold and untouchable, was standing there offering me a kind of support I hadn't expected. "So, what now?" I asked, voice rough. "Now," she replied, voice sharp. "We fix this. You reclaim your dignity. And Mark learns the consequences of betraying someone who matters." I laughed bitterly. Easier said than done. His already spun stories damaged my reputation. "I'll help," she said firmly. "I don't let things like this slide. Not with you." The warmth behind her eyes, so brief, so fleeting, made my chest ache. Why are you doing this?" "Because," she said, stepping closer, tone almost vulnerable, "I don't like seeing people I care about used, or hurt. Even if I act like I don't care." I swallowed hard, heart racing. "You care," I said quietly. "Don't test me," she snapped, though her lips twitched in the tiniest hint of a smile. I shook my head. "I need to be smart about this. Plan my moves." "Good," she said, voice steady again. "Smart and cautious. Don't rush. But don't let him see you falter either. He thrives on it." I paced the office, mind racing. "So, first step, expose the lies? Correct the misinformation?" "Precisely," she said. "And when he realizes you're untouchable, he'll regret it. Mark's not clever, just selfish and short-sighted. That's his downfall." I exhaled, feeling a mix of anger and relief. Anger at Mark, relief that Isabella, of all people, was in my corner. For a moment, I let myself breathe, let myself trust someone besides Leo. "And me?" I asked cautiously. "Where do I fit in all this?" She tilted her head, eyes searching mine. "Right where I need you. Focused. Resilient. Unshaken." Her words ignited something inside me, a spark I hadn't felt in days. Betrayal had cut deep, but Isabella's loyalty, it reminded me that even when the world turned against me, not everyone would. I nodded, determination settling in my chest. "Then let's make him regret it. Every move, calculated." "Exactly," she said, voice steady, confident. "And together, we'll ensure your name, and your dignity, remains untarnished." I glanced at her, a strange warmth in my chest. Betrayal had arrived uninvited, but maybe, just maybe, so had trust. The apartment was quiet, the hum of the city outside barely reaching us. Isabella sat on the edge of the couch, her usual armor slightly cracked. "You ever wonder why I'm like this?" she asked suddenly. "Like what?" I asked, cautious. "Controlling. Distant. Always calculating." She didn't meet my eyes. "Do you think I enjoy it?" I swallowed. "I didn't think about it much. Honestly, I assumed you just were." She let out a bitter laugh. "I wasn't always like this. Once, I trusted. Once, I cared too much. And I got burned." My heart tightened. "What happened?" Her gaze finally met mine, shadowed with pain. "My brother, he died. I couldn't stop it. People betrayed me after that. Family, friends, everyone left. I promised myself I'd never be vulnerable again. Ever." I felt a pang of empathy. That explains a lot. The rules, the walls. You're protecting yourself." She looked away. "Do you think it makes me weak?" "Not weak," I said softly. "Strong, maybe too strong. But human. And that's not a weakness, it's just survival." Her shoulders relaxed slightly. "Most people don't see it that way. They see arrogance, coldness. But you notice." "I notice because I've been betrayed too," I admitted. "And sometimes, you just want someone who doesn't leave." Her eyes softened, just for a second, a flicker of something fragile. I don't let people close. Not easily. I leaned back, studying her. I get it. And I respect that. But, why tell me now? She hesitated. Because you've been different. You don't just follow my rules blindly. You question, push, but you also care in your own way. My chest tightened. I care. I didn't expect to. And I don't know if it's smart, considering the contract. She tilted her head, almost amused. Contracts are supposed to prevent emotion. But sometimes, the heart has other plans. I swallowed hard, feeling the truth of her words. Yeah, sometimes it does. And I can't pretend I don't feel it. Feel what? She whispered, voice barely audible. Something between us, I admitted. This connection. It's real, even if it shouldn't be. Her gaze dropped. I shouldn't let it be real either. But I can't deny it. Not completely. We sat in silence for a moment, both grappling with the fragility of trust. Every secret shared was a risk, but also a bridge. Do you ever regret trusting anyone? I asked quietly. She nodded slightly. Every time. Except, maybe tonight. I feel like I can talk to you. Not many people get that. My throat tightened. I feel the same. Sharing this, it's risky. But it feels worth it. She let out a small, shaky laugh. You make it sound so simple. It's not simple, I said softly. But connection rarely is. And sometimes, it's the only thing that makes everything else bearable. Her eyes lingered on mine, vulnerability still present but guarded. Then maybe we keep talking. Keep trusting, cautiously. I nodded, a small smile forming. Cautiously. But I don't want to stop noticing you either. She glanced away, a faint blush coloring her cheeks. Good. Just, don't let the contract ruin whatever this is. I exhaled, heart racing. I won't. I think. I'm starting to care too much to let it ruin. I didn't expect Damien to walk into the office with that cocky grin, but there he was, radiating confidence like he owned the room. Isabella, he said smoothly, extending a hand that she ignored. Always a pleasure. Damien, she replied, icy, arms crossed. What do you want? He laughed lightly, eyes flicking toward me. Oh, nothing, yet. I just came to see how my favorite competitor is doing. I frowned, stepping slightly forward. Competitor. Yes, Damien said, smirking. You and we're competing, aren't we? His gaze lingered on me longer than necessary, and a strange heat rose in my chest. Isabella's eyes narrowed. You're leaving. I don't leave so easily, he said, leaning against her desk casually. Not when there's so much at stake, professionally and personally. I felt my stomach tighten. Was that directed at me? Or was he just trying to rattle her? Damien, Isabella said sharply, I suggest you leave before I call security. He chuckled. Always so serious. But I like that about you. Keeps things interesting. I cleared my throat. Interesting doesn't mean welcome. Oh, come on, he said, turning to me with a grin. I've heard so much about you. Isabella's mysterious partner, right? The one who's clever enough to sign her ridiculous contracts. Isabella's jaw tightened. Back off. I stepped closer, feeling a surge of possessiveness I didn't expect. I don't appreciate your tone. Relax, he said, still smirking. I'm just being friendly. Is that a problem? Yes, Isabella snapped, voice low and dangerous. It is a problem. I glanced at her, feeling a strange thrill. Her protectiveness, it made my chest swell. Yeah, I said quietly, more to myself than to him. It's a problem. Damien's grin widened, clearly enjoying the tension. Well, I wouldn't want to come between anything, he said, letting his gaze linger on both of us, deliberately testing boundaries. You're leaving, Isabella said firmly. Now. All right, he said, holding up his hands in mock surrender. But don't think this is over. I play to win, and I don't back down easily. I felt a flash of anger, jealousy, and something else, possessiveness. He's not going anywhere, I muttered, though my voice betrayed my unease. Isabella shot me a look, sharp yet unreadable. Focus. Don't let him distract you. I nodded, but my mind kept racing. Damien's presence had stirred something I didn't expect, a protective instinct I couldn't ignore, and a strange awareness that Isabella's attention, even slight, mattered more than it ever had. He winked at me before leaving, a last taunt hanging in the air. See you soon, he said. See you never, Isabella muttered, voice tight. I exhaled slowly, trying to calm the sudden storm inside me. You okay? I asked, glancing at her. She looked at me, eyes softening ever so slightly. I am now, she admitted quietly. I nodded, feeling the bond between us strengthen in the face of an external threat. Damien had tested us, flared jealousy, and forced clarity. Somehow, it made my connection with Isabella feel more real, more important. And I realized, despite my confusion, that I wasn't just defending myself. I was defending us. That I slammed my laptop shut and leaned back. We need a strategy. Damien's not going to stop unless we force his hand. Isabella's eyes narrowed, arms crossed. And you think you know better than me? I know he's playing both sides, I said, voice sharp. And if we wait, he'll ruin more than my reputation. He'll drag you into it too. She exhaled, pacing. Fine. What's your plan? I leaned forward, lowering my voice. We set a trap. Make him think he's winning. Lure him into overconfidence. Then expose him publicly. All evidence documented. No mistakes. Her eyes flickered, impressed but guarded. Risky. One misstep, and it's your career, and ours, on the line. I know, I said. But it's calculated. We control the narrative. She tilted her head. And if I don't like your calculations? You'll follow them, I said firmly, but with a smile. Or we tweak them together. I'm not doing this without you. Her lips pressed together, and for a moment, I saw hesitation. I'm emotionally invested. If he hurts me, I won't be rational. That's why we plan, I said. You keep control, and I execute. We balance each other out. She narrowed her eyes, then smirked slightly. Fine. But I'm warning you, one mistake, and you're on your own. I chuckled. Deal. Now, step 1. We leak a false tip about our next merger. Make Damien think he has insider info. Her eyebrows shot up. You're serious? Deadly serious, I said. He'll bite. He can't resist the temptation. She paced again, muttering under her breath. And then? Then, I said, we document his reactions, his communications, everything. Solid proof of his manipulations. Her eyes softened slightly. You're clever. Dangerous, but clever. I smirked. I've had good teachers. Like me? She asked, voice teasing but serious. Exactly like you, I said, heart thumping. You've taught me how to anticipate moves, how to stay one step ahead. She gave a short laugh. Careful. Flattery will get you nowhere. I like nowhere if it's with you, I said, voice low. Her eyes widened for a fraction of a second before she recovered. Focus, she said sharply. We don't have time for distractions. I nodded, suppressing a grin. Right. Step 2, our office cameras record his next visit. Step 3, intercept his communications. Step 4, set the stage for public exposure. And you trust me to follow through? She asked, eyes searching mine. Completely, I said. Because you trust me too. And that's what makes this work. Together, we're untouchable. She hesitated, then nodded slowly. Fine. Together. Exactly, I said, leaning back, feeling a rush of adrenaline. But here's the catch, if Damien catches even a hint, he'll double his efforts. We can't leave a single opening. She bit her lip. We'll be careful. But this, it could ruin everything if we fail. Which is why we can't fail, I said firmly. Not for me. Not for you. Not for what we're building. Her eyes softened again, just slightly, and I sensed the trust strengthening. All right. Let's do it. Step by step. Together. I exhaled slowly, heart pounding. Together, I echoed. And Damien won't see us coming. I slammed my laptop shut and leaned back. We need a strategy. Damien's not going to stop unless we force his hand. Isabella's eyes narrowed, arms crossed. And you think you know better than me? I know he's playing both sides, I said, voice sharp. And if we wait, he'll ruin more than my reputation. He'll drag you into it too. She exhaled, pacing. Fine. What's your plan? I leaned forward, lowering my voice. We set a trap. Make him think he's winning. Lure him into overconfidence. Then expose him publicly. All evidence documented. No mistakes. Her eyes flickered, impressed but guarded. Risky. One misstep, and it's your career, and ours, on the line. I know, I said. But it's calculated. We control the narrative. She tilted her head. And if I don't like your calculations? You'll follow them, I said firmly, but with a smile. Or we tweak them together. I'm not doing this without you. Her lips pressed together, and for a moment, I saw hesitation. I'm emotionally invested. If he hurts me, I won't be rational. That's why we plan, I said. You keep control, and I execute. We balance each other out. She narrowed her eyes, then smirked slightly. Fine. But I'm warning you, one mistake, and you're on your own. I chuckled. Deal. Now, step 1, we leak a false tip about our next merger. Make Damien think he has insider info. Her eyebrows shot up. You're serious? Deadly serious, I said. He'll bite. He can't resist the temptation. She paced again, muttering under her breath. And then? Then, I said, we document his reactions, his communications, everything. Solid proof of his manipulations. Her eyes softened slightly. You're clever. Dangerous, but clever. I smirked. I've had good teachers. Like me? She asked, voice teasing but serious. Exactly like you, I said, heart thumping. You've taught me how to anticipate moves, how to stay one step ahead. She gave a short laugh. Careful. Flattery will get you nowhere. I like nowhere if it's with you, I said, voice low. Her eyes widened for a fraction of a second before she recovered. Focus, she said sharply. We don't have time for distractions. I nodded, suppressing a grin. Right. Step 2, our office cameras record his next visit. Step 3, intercept his communications. Step 4, set the stage for public exposure. And you trust me to follow through? She asked, eyes searching mine. Completely, I said. Because you trust me too. And that's what makes this work. Together, we're untouchable. She hesitated, then nodded slowly. Fine. Together. Exactly, I said, leaning back, feeling a rush of adrenaline. But here's the catch, if Damien catches even a hint, he'll double his efforts. We can't leave a single opening. She bit her lip. We'll be careful. But this, it could ruin everything if we fail. Which is why we can't fail, I said firmly. Not for me. Not for you. Not for what we're building. Her eyes softened again, just slightly, and I sensed the trust strengthening. All right. Let's do it. Step by step. Together. I exhaled slowly, heart pounding. Together, I echoed. And Damien won't see us coming. I didn't know how to start, so I just blurted it out. Why didn't you tell me? Isabella froze, her eyes wide. Tell you what? That everything about your past, your family, the way you build walls, it's not just habit. It's trauma. I found out, Isabella. I know. She recoiled, as if I'd slapped her. You went through my private files? I didn't mean to invade, I said, voice cracking. But someone tipped me off. And I needed to know. I needed to understand why you push everyone away, why you're so untouchable. Her hands trembled as she ran them over her face. I can't believe you know. I trusted you. You still have my trust, I said quickly, stepping closer. I feel like I was blind to it before. I didn't see the real you. She shook her head violently. The real me isn't safe. Not for anyone. Not even for you. I can handle it, I said softly. I want to. You're not just a CEO with rules. You're human. Vulnerable. And yes, flawed. But I stopped, swallowing hard. I care. More than I should. Tears welled in her eyes. You care. I do, I admitted, voice low. And that's why I can't turn away. But I don't know if I should forgive you, for keeping all of this from me. She laughed bitterly. Forgive me? You're asking to forgive someone who's been broken most of her life? Someone who hides behind control because the world hurt her? Yes, I said firmly. Because despite it all, I see you. And I can't ignore what I feel. She collapsed onto the couch, covering her face. I thought I was protecting you by hiding it. I thought, if you knew, you'd leave. Everyone leaves. I'm not everyone, I said, kneeling in front of her. I don't leave. And I'm not scared of what you've been through. I want to be here. For you. Even if it's hard. She peeked at me through her fingers, eyes red and swollen. You make it sound easy. But it's not. Every day is a battle, against myself, against the fear of losing someone, again. I know it's not easy, I said. And I'm not expecting perfection. I'm just asking for honesty. That's all I need. Her hands trembled as she reached for mine. I don't know if I can be that honest. Not all the time. Then start small, I whispered. Let me in. Let me see the parts you hide. I'll stay. I promise. She exhaled shakily, resting her head on my shoulder. I don't deserve you. You do, I said softly. Because you're scared, because you've been hurt, because you're human. And that's more than enough. We stayed there in silence, hearts racing, hands intertwined. The air was heavy with tension, but also relief. A bridge was forming, fragile, tentative, but real. I realized then, forgiveness wasn't a single act. It was a choice. A daily decision. And my choice was made. Even if the world had tried to break her, even if her past haunted her every step, I wanted to stand beside her. Not just as a partner in a contract, but as someone who loved her. Truly, unconditionally, dangerously. I watched from my office window as the news flashed across my laptop. Mark's empire of lies was crumbling. Every shady deal, every betrayal, exposed. I felt a strange mix of relief and emptiness. Leo leaned over my shoulder. Wow, karma really does bite, huh? I nodded, fingers tapping the desk. It's satisfying. But it doesn't erase the hurt he caused. He deserved it, Leo said. You just made sure it happened on your terms. I exhaled, thinking of Isabella. She'd warned me against letting anger control me. Instead, I'd let strategy, patience, and truth do the work. She appeared behind me quietly, hand resting lightly on my shoulder. You handled it well, she said softly. I turned to her, offering a small smile. Couldn't have done it without you. She tilted her head, eyes searching mine. You could have. But I'm glad I was here. Witnessing, you choosing the right way, even when revenge whispered in your ear. I chuckled quietly. You make it sound like a heroic choice. It was, she said firmly. Smart. Emotional. Controlled. And still, human. I looked back at the screen. Damien's latest press release was a disaster. His manipulation exposed, his charm ineffective. The rival who'd flirted and tested us now looked pathetic, grasping at power he no longer had. I muttered under my breath, guess he won't be trying his games anymore. Isabella leaned against the desk, arms crossed, smirk faint but triumphant. He underestimated us. He thought he could control either of us. But together, we're, well, untouchable. Her words warmed me, but I stayed grounded. Untouchable, and careful. That's the key. A silence settled between us, comfortable yet intimate. She stepped closer, brushing a loose strand of hair behind my ear. Do you feel relief? Or emptiness? Both, I admitted. It's strange. Seeing justice unfold, knowing it's fair, and yet, it's bittersweet. I don't feel the victory I expected. That's normal, she said softly. Because it's never about the fall of others alone. It's about what we choose to carry forward. And what we choose to protect. I nodded, letting her words sink in. I choose us. Always. Her lips curved into a gentle smile. Then the rest fades into the background. Mark, Damien, their chaos doesn't touch us anymore. I reached for her hand, holding it firmly. It doesn't. And I feel peace. Finally. She leaned into me slightly, whispering, peace looks good on you. I chuckled, brushing my thumb along her knuckles. Better shared with you. For a moment, we stayed like that, letting the world outside spin with its chaos, knowing we had carved out a small sanctuary. A quiet, steady place where trust had won, where love had survived manipulation and deceit. I realized how far we'd come, from suspicion, anger, and betrayal, to strategy, trust, and emotional closeness. Every tense conversation, every shared secret, had led us here. Do you think we'll ever face someone like this again? I asked quietly. She tilted her head, a playful glint returning. Maybe. But now, we know how to handle it. Together. I nodded, squeezing her hand. Together, I echoed. The laptop pinged again, notifications of Damien's downfall filling the screen. I didn't feel triumph or gloating. Just satisfaction, subtle and steady. Karma had done its work, and we had survived intact. And for the first time in a long while, I felt completely certain about us. The chaos had passed, but what remained, trust, care, and an unspoken bond, was ours to keep. I exhaled, leaning back, letting Isabella rest her head lightly on my shoulder. Quiet, intimate, and finally freed, I stared out at the city skyline, the lights twinkling like promises we were finally ready to keep. Isabella stood beside me, her hand brushing against mine, tentative but real. "So, this is it?" I asked quietly. She glanced at me, eyes soft, lips curved faintly. "This is it. No contracts. No games. Just us." I chuckled lightly, the tension of months finally melting. "Feels strange. But good. Very good." She nudged me playfully. "Don't make it sound like we're negotiating terms again." "I can't help it," I said, smiling. "Habits die hard." She laughed softly, a sound that had become my anchor. "Do you ever think about how far we've come?" "All the time," I admitted. "From icy boardrooms and fake smiles, to this. Honestly, I didn't know if we'd make it." Her fingers entwined with mine. "Neither did I. But here we are." I turned to face her fully, heart pounding. "I'm proud of us. Proud of how we handled everything, the betrayal, Damien, even my own stubbornness." She studied me, eyes glimmering. "And I'm proud of you. You chose love over revenge. You chose trust, even when it was hard." "I learned from the best," I said, nodding toward her. "You taught me patience, strategy, and how to see someone, not just the role they play in your life." She tilted her head, a soft smile spreading. "I've learned too. That vulnerability isn't weakness. And that love, real love, is worth risking control for." I squeezed her hand gently. "Then we risk together." "Always," she whispered. For a moment, silence enveloped us, comfortable, intimate. The city hummed around us, but we were in our own quiet world. Leo popped up on the balcony behind us, waving with a grin. "Don't mind me. Just here to see if you two finally figure it out." I groaned. "Leo, you're impossible." He laughed. "And yet indispensable. Congrats, you two. Really." I shook my head, chuckling. "Thanks, Leo. Means a lot." Isabella leaned against me, resting her head on my shoulder. "We've got friends who care, victories we've earned, and lessons we've survived. That's more than most people get." I wrapped an arm around her. "And now we get the chance to write the rest ourselves. No contracts, no rules, just us figuring it out." She looked up at me, eyes bright. "Do you think it'll be easy?" "Nothing worth having ever is," I said softly. "But I know we can face it. Together." Her lips brushed mine, gentle, affirming, full of everything unspoken. "Together," she repeated. I exhaled, letting the moment sink in. The weight of past betrayals, the games, the chaos, all of it seemed distant now. What remained was us. Solid. Real. Hopeful. The city lights reflected in her eyes, and I realized that this quiet, imperfect, beautiful future, was ours to claim. No contracts, no schemes, just love, trust, and a journey still unfolding. And as we stood there, hand in hand, I knew that the story wasn't ending. It was only beginning.